Instagram thing? Where's all this always on the Instagram? Everybody all up in your business.
I know.
That is awful. That is so disrespectful. You know.
I totally agree.
Putting your business all out there, but you ain't got no business because everybody knows the host.
Right.
Let's step straight into the storm. Reality television has always thrived on chaos, betrayals, and shocking twists. But what's happening now feels like a different kind of disruption. For years, Martell Holt has played the villain, the ladies' man, the schemer, and at times, the victim. He's argued with castmates, fought with ex-partners, and always found a way to spin a messy situation into a storyline. But this time, the lightning bolt didn't strike from an online feud or a bitter ex, it struck from inside his own home.
And you know, to me, it's very embarrassing, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a light on you and her, you know what I mean? But y'all just got to do what y'all got to do. And then I look at my grandbabies, you know what I'm saying? Malia was like, how did they feel, you know?
The woman who has defended him more fiercely than anyone else, his mother, Martell Holt, finally stepped forward. Her words weren't loud, but they carried the weight of a lifetime. She didn't yell, she didn't curse, and she didn't break down in tears. Instead, she said something so simple, yet so devastating that it froze fans in their tracks. The silence after that sentence was louder than any headline. Within minutes, Twitter and Instagram lit up like fireworks. People didn't just comment, they gasped, they typed in all caps, and they replayed her statement over and over again. Some fans wrote, "Finally," as if they had been waiting years for this moment. Others said it was the most honest thing anyone had ever said to Martell on or off camera. And for once, the cameras weren't exaggerating. For years, Marlene has been Martell's shield. She was the mother who stood like a fortress around him, blocking criticism, brushing off rumors, and protecting him even when he was clearly wrong. When tabloids splashed stories of affairs, late-night scandals, or secret drama with castmates, she was there with soft excuses. She covered for him the way a parent covers for a child, not realizing that her protection allowed him to keep avoiding accountability. But this time, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She didn't defend him with a smile. She looked tired, exhausted from years of carrying the weight of her son's choices. In one clear moment, she said she was done. And that single decision shook the foundation of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Clips of Marlene's calm but firm declaration spread across TikTok and Instagram like wildfire. People edited her statement into montages with captions like, "This is not gossip. This is generational accountability." The comments were brutal. Some fans said Martell had finally lost his crown on his own show. Others said they couldn't believe they had just witnessed a mother publicly choose sides. One post with thousands of shares read, "She didn't scream, she didn't cry, she just told the truth. That's what made it cut deeper." And they were right. The power wasn't in the volume, it was in the finality. The shockwaves only got stronger when Marlene drew a very clear comparison between the two women at the center of Martell's most infamous scandal, his ex-wife Melody and longtime mistress Arionne. She praised Melody for her strength. She said Melody fought to hold the family together, brought order to chaos, and showed resilience even when everything around her was falling apart. Then, without hesitation, she labeled Arionne as pure trouble. No filters, no euphemisms. A mother, speaking to millions of viewers, openly rejecting the path her son had chosen. Fans couldn't believe it. Some argued she was rewriting history, but others pointed out that this was the most honest she had ever been. On Instagram Live, one fan commented, "Did we just watch Martell's mom pick a side on camera?" The answer was yes. But Marlene's words weren't the only shock. Another revelation shook viewers just as hard. It came out that Arionne, who was trained, licensed, and educated to work as a nurse, had quietly asked Martell for permission to work. That detail hit like a bomb. A grown woman with skills, credentials, and independence, lowering her voice to ask a man if she could use her own profession. Fans were floored. "What year is this?" one tweet read, gaining thousands of retweets. Others said this was the clearest example of control disguised as love. And Martell's reaction only made it worse. Instead of supporting her, Martell turned the conversation into a public power struggle. He mocked her profession, belittled her old salary, and acted like dignity could be measured in dollars. Then, with a smirk that cameras caught in perfect high definition, he threw out a line that many say may haunt him forever. The internet erupted. Nurses across the country posted TikTok duets in scrubs, holding stethoscopes like weapons, blasting his words. Instagram Reels poured in with messages like, "We save lives while you play games." The hypocrisy was too much to ignore. This was the same man who had carried on a nearly decade-long affair, fathered a child outside of marriage, and built lie upon lie to cover it up. Yet here he was, mocking others for betrayal. On Reddit, someone summed it up perfectly. It's like a thief accusing the world of stealing. As the drama unfolded, cameras caught a moment with Marlene that broke hearts. When the name Maverick, Martell's child from his affair, was mentioned, her face softened. She clearly loved her grandson deeply, but behind that love was a sadness too heavy to ignore. It was the face of a grandmother who loved her family but was forced to relive betrayal every time she saw the child born from it. That isn't bitterness, it's grief. Grief for the family that could have been if better choices had been made. And in that silence, Melody's strength echoed louder than ever. Say what you will about Melody, but she has handled this storm with grace. She has built businesses, signed contracts, and pushed forward without feeding into every jab. While Martell spends time in courtrooms and on Instagram lives, she invests in her peace. Her silence has become her loudest weapon. Every time she refuses to respond, every time she chooses to post about her music or her children instead of Martell, she sends a message. You can't play with my energy anymore. In a world where reality TV thrives on noise, her quiet victories are powerful. Looking back, it's clear that many people saw this collapse coming. Maurice and Marcel Scott gave warnings years ago. At the time, their rooftop conversations sounded like just another night of drama. Now, those old clips play like prophecy. They told Martell his house of mirrors would fall. He laughed. Now, their words sound like judgment. Kimmy Scott, with her calm voice and sharp insight, quietly pointed out his patterns long before Marlene spoke. Even Miss Wanda, often dismissed as messy, called out his recklessness years ago. When so many different people, unscripted and uncoordinated, see the same flaws, it stops being coincidence. It becomes proof. Then came the legal bombshell. A judge ordered Martell to attend counseling and undergo a psychological evaluation for the safety of his children. This wasn't optional, it was mandatory. And what did he do? He ignored it. Not for a week, not for a month, for 2 entire years. The internet exploded with anger. One viral tweet read, "Skipping therapy for 2 years isn't drama, it's dangerous." Suddenly, this wasn't just about TV ratings or storylines. This was about children, safety, and responsibility. Fans began calling Martell's behavior professional dodging. On Reddit, people said he lives as if accountability is optional. He treats consequences like scenes to avoid until the cameras stop rolling. Meanwhile, Melody continues to co-parent, work, and grow, yet she still finds herself dragged into court battles, not for the sake of the children, but as a tactic of control. Every lawsuit feels less about love and more about keeping her tied to his chaos. Arionne's position is getting more complicated too. Some viewers see her as a victim of Martell's manipulation, a woman caught in a cycle of loyalty that turned into a cage. Others say she chose this path by getting involved with a married man and must now face the consequences. Either way, the facts remain. She surrendered her independence, her career, and her freedom for someone who doesn't even respect her profession. And that isn't love, that's control. Through all of this noise, one truth stands tall. Marlene's sentence, "I can't protect you anymore," feels like a turning point, not just for Martell, but for the entire show. A mother's loyalty has limits. For years, she was his shield. Now, her silence leaves him exposed to the world. Family gatherings change, friendships shift, and alliances crack. It's more than television, it's an earthquake in their real lives. Fans see it too. They're not just watching a scandal, they're asking bigger questions. Can someone who always chooses chaos really change? How do you co-parent when trust is shattered? How many chances does someone deserve before enough is enough? Every new episode pulls people back in, not just for gossip, but for recognition. Because beneath the reality TV edits, this is a story about love, betrayal, responsibility, and the moment when even family has to say no more. Martell Holt has always lived like the rules didn't apply to him. For years, he dodged responsibility, hid behind charm, and leaned on the loyalty of the people closest to him. But now, the person who defended him the longest, his own mother, has finally drawn the line. When Marlene said, "I can't protect you anymore," it wasn't just a family moment. It was the kind of statement that changes the course of a man's life. Fans everywhere could feel the shift. It wasn't another headline, another social media rant, or another fight that would be forgotten in a week. This was real. Because when your mother says she's done shielding you, the world stops seeing you as misunderstood and starts seeing you for who you really are. And that's the hardest truth Martell is facing right now. The cameras can capture drama, but they can't protect him from consequences. The court orders, the public backlash, the crumbling relationships, and the silence from Melody all paint the same picture: a man running out of excuses. The big question now is simple. Will Martell finally change when there's no one left to defend him? Or will he double down, choosing chaos until even his children see through the act? One thing is clear: reality TV can script arguments, but it can't fake what we just witnessed. A mother's love has limits, and Marlene has shown the world hers. For Martell Holt, the storm has arrived, and this time, there may be no escape. So, what do you think? Has Martell finally reached the point of no return, or is there still a chance for him to rebuild before it's too late? Let me know in the comments.